Hey everybody, Alex Kazora, SteelersDepot.com, back with some more Pittsburgh Steelers tape breakdown and analysis. The Pittsburgh Steelers have added former Denver Broncos quarterback Russell Wilson to the team and to the quarterback mix in 2024. What are the Steelers getting with Russell Wilson? Is he going to be a starter, a backup? Will this thing work? Will it go up in flames? Let's talk about it. Before we start, if you guys could like this video, subscribe to the channel, and check out the site SteelersDepot.com, I would really appreciate that. So, longer video today. I'll try to keep it on the short side by my standards, at least for what we're going to delve into, but a bunch of tape I wanted to go through with you guys. I won't do as I did for the Kenny Pickett watch every throw, here's the entire breakdown of a season as I did this past offseason. I won't break it down into every single category when it comes to Wilson, but I'll do a good and bad. Just here's the good of what I saw in all the games I watched, the half dozen of them. Here's the bad. Here's my final conclusion. Beginning with the good, and I would say Russell Wilson's arm strength is still very much there. His arm is still live despite being 35 years old. I'm not seeing a decline or a concern that he can't make certain throws or push the ball downfield. So week 8 against the Chiefs, 2x2, you see these condensed splits, and that's kind of similar to what you'll see employed under Arthur Smith, the Steelers' new OC. Going to hit number 10. It's going to stem to the outside and then burst back in on this post route, and it's a pretty well thrown ball overall. Maybe could have been led a bit more, but just seeing the actual arm strength making this downfield throw, no concern there. I think Wilson's able to push the ball where he wants it to go, where he needs it to go, and this one is caught for a big play. We'll take a look at it from the end zone view, and again, we'll have a bunch of clips here on arm strength, and so to me, the arm is very much live. It's not a concern. It's still a pretty potent arm for Russell Wilson. Even better play in week 13 against the Houston Texans. You're going to see another post route to the top of the screen and a really well thrown ball. You really see the ball explode off of Russell Wilson's arm. You see him make a check here, see these safeties roll down, might get a quarters look, take advantage of this post route 1v1. Receiver has leverage, and that ball is really well thrown to Courtland Sutton, who just couldn't make the catch. I mean, maybe it's a little out in front, but to me, just again, in terms of focusing on this particular topic, is his arm still there? Does he still have the arm strength to get throws downfield or fit them into tight windows? He absolutely does. You see him climb the pocket, fling this one downfield, and to me, that should have been a catch all day by Courtland Sutton. So the other view we're going to look at, you can really kind of see the ball come off his arm, and so we're going to see some concepts similar to what I think Arthur Smith will do. 2 tight end set here, working under center. Wilson's making a check, canning a play potentially at the line, play action, hitch and climb. Ball explodes off the arm, right on the money between the hashes. Those are things that have been missing in Pittsburgh. Those are things that Wilson has the talent to provide. Sticking with the Texans game, this is one of my favorite throws I saw from Wilson on tape. Again, under center, play action, take a shot here, opposite hash to the corner, the accuracy, the arm strength. I mean, just a fantastic play. Great job by Sutton to come down with this one. But talk about just the distance from where Wilson launches this one at about the 47-yard line on the opposite hash to the front left pylon, and then on this corner out to Sutton, and then placed perfectly too, is a really big-time type throw that Pittsburgh has not seen since, Ben of probably a couple years before he, retired in 2021 after the season there. So really high-level play where it's all coming together, the arm strength, the accuracy, again, under center play action, and then it leads to a big play, a touchdown for the Broncos. And let's just take a quick look from the aerial view to kind of watch it from Wilson's perspective. And again, just seeing, is the arm strength still there at 35 years old? Yes, it absolutely is. So we've seen Wilson air it out deep downfield, 30, 40 plus yards. What about some of the shorter throws? And we're talking more zip and velocity than it is pure, arm strength in terms of the conventional thought of throwing it really far downfield. 3rd and 9 against Chicago back in week 4. Again, seeing some of these tighter splits. I think, there's a similar scheme fit to what Atlanta and Arthur Smith will carry over to Pittsburgh. But this route here to Sutton, zipped in behind, really good velocity there, right on the money for a touchdown. As you're seeing Sutton run this skinny post to the near upright, essentially is the aiming point, and Wilson puts it on him, past the underneath defenders, over them, but without getting your receiver hit over the middle, and it's 6 points for Denver. So take a look at it from the end zone view, right over that linebacker, right to Sutton. I mean, that is a lot of velocity there. So again, I'm showing examples to really hammer home the point, which I'll do for each video, kind of break it down by each trait into that good bad section. But I mean, you cannot put that over the linebacker any better, and you have the velocity too. It's not just a touch throw. There has to be zip on it as well, and this thing is just perfectly over the outstretched left hand of that underneath zone linebacker, and then to the receiver for the touchdown. Big time throw from Russell Wilson. The next throw that Wilson makes against Chicago following that touchdown is a hole shot. Cover two, common coverage at all levels of football, two deep safety, corners underneath. There's this hole that gets created between the underneath corner and the deep half safety, and can you hit it? That's the weakness of cover two. You see it here. You see it here as well, and Wilson's able to fit this in perfectly to the receiver, who gets a bunch of yak after the fact. So a great hole shot throw here from Wilson. Again, focusing on the arm strength. Again, far hash throw. To me, the arm is not a concern for his stage, and that'll be refreshing for somebody like George Pickens to really consistently open up the deep passing game. You saw benefits when Mason Rudolph took over and the improvements there in terms of the deep passing game. But again, just to look at that trait specifically, talk about older quarterback, is there decline in that arm? Maybe it wasn't quite what it was in 2013 when he was in his prime and winning a Super Bowl, but to me, there's really no question about or concern about where his arm strength is at today. So the cover two hole shot, take a look at it here from this other view. I like looking from this view better from the quarterback's perspective, and then just fire this one right on the money. Last example when it comes to Russell Wilson's arm, and take a little different spin and angle on it. We're looking at off-platform throws, so not just from the pocket, hitch and climb, and good weight transfer, and just very clean the way that it's taught and supposed to look, quote unquote. But off-platform here to his right, doesn't set his feet, but the arm still looking strong to that speedy rookie receiver, Marvin Mims. So take a look at it from the end zone view, extended play situation, out of structure, and then Wilson, despite this one, not stepping into it. I mean, that ball is perfectly placed, and that is a far distance downfield. So again, arm looks really strong. Happy to see that, and to see from different levels, different concepts, the actual deep ball from the pocket, velocity over the middle, out of structure, extend the play, off platform type moments. You're checking every box you're looking for in everything that an NFL quarterback will be required to do throughout a season. So one last look, and we'll move on to the next trait. So we checked the arm strength box. It's there, but what about touch and accuracy? To me, some of the most important traits a quarterback can have: accuracy, decision-making. We'll look at some of the negative accuracy a bit later, but I think overall, as it relates to touch and placement and taking something off the football, Wilson looks good there too. So back to the Chiefs game, tight splits, red zone. Wilson statistically very strong inside the 20 last season. You see it here, number 10 on this over route, and then great touch, accuracy away from the cornerback, and it's a touchdown for Denver. So again, just really good placement in a place where there's not a ton of real estate overall. Obviously the route helps and the leverage helps, but this one dropped into the bucket by Wilson. So when he needs to zip it in there, as we saw against the Bears, it's there. We got to take something off of it and really lead and float that ball in. He can do it. Week 16 against the Patriots, again, red zone. Here it's low red zone, ball in the 4. You're going to see that touch, that accuracy this time, out of structure, extend the play. Wilson flushed and rolling to his right, under pressure, throw it over the underneath linebacker, and then create basically a jump ball situation with his target to the DB over the top. His guy gets it for the touchdown. So a good play, again, under pressure, off platform. You can't step into this one and have a clean base. It's NFL doesn't happen too often. Typically, you're working from a dirty pocket, or here you're out of structure and there's pressure, and then have the touch and the accuracy to throw it over the linebacker, number 8, and then let your guy go get it against that DB one-on-one in a tight area in the low red zone. Nice play. Now let's really focus in on his accuracy. 2x2 against the Raiders in week 1. Going to throw the out route to the boundary. This corner is going to try to drive on it. Does a nice job overall trying to get downhill and dive to break this one up. But a really accurate throw by Wilson to hit Courtland Sutton for a decent chunk of yardage there and a first down, or right close to it, maybe a yard short, but good accuracy overall. So it's not the far hash throw that's tougher to do and can be a better judge of just overall arm talent and accuracy, but on time, rhythmic, and then right where it needs to be. That DB cannot make a play on it despite, I think, good coverage overall. And so again, this out route to the sideline, right where you want it to be. DB's diving, just perfectly placed to the sideline where Sutton can make that catch for a good pickup. Later in the Raiders game, and we'll come back to this drive, but end of half situation, about 30 seconds left, ball on Las Vegas's 20-yard line, and just simple stuff. We can talk about some of the big things and the amazing throws and high-level stuff. Let's play some on-time football. 3x1, backside X receiver on this dig or this kind of post route, 3-step drop, ball out, on time, accurate, beating zone coverage over the middle. Doesn't always have to be super fancy and high level. Let's play within the concept in structure. You're going to do that more times than out of structure type of stuff for any quarterback, whether you're Mahomes or Kenny Pickett or Russell Wilson, and just a good accurate ball to put them on the doorstep of the end zone late in the half. Just routine stuff. Wilson hits it, ball out, good completion. We've discussed some of the physical tools and talent, but let's discuss some actual X's and O's in playing the quarterback position, some of the reads and decision-making, which I think overall was positive for Wilson. So working under center against Chicago, 2 back again, fullback, some things you may see in Pittsburgh under Arthur Smith, a traditional straight drop back, working a sail concept, a 3-man combination with a go route, a vertical 9 route, a corner route, a 7 route to the sideline, and a flat route underneath. And so it's a 3-man combination, the flat, the corner, the vertical, and he's got a high-low read here. He's working high, seeing if he can hit the deep ball downfield, either on the 9 route or probably more so on this corner route. This linebacker is sinking, taking away the corner route. The 9 route's taken away. Safety shaded that way to the top. Cornerback, zone eyes, getting depth. And so we're going to work high-low and then hit the flat route to the fullback. And so it's a simple play. It's just hitting your fullback in the flat, but working the concept and working your eyes, high-low read on this sail concept. And that just, it's fundamental. It's not something earth-shattering, clearly, but just to talk about that element of things as well. Working high to low, hitting the flat route before you get hit by the pass rush, and picking up a decent chunk to your fullback. I think that's Michael Burton, who I believe is a free agent. We'll see if Pittsburgh has interest there. He is older at 32 years old, but that is besides the point. So watching the eyes here from Wilson, even maybe glance at the left to the backside potentially, but working high and then going low, again, knowing where his checkdown's at and picking up a decent chunk of yardage. One more example of that from this Bears game, 3x1 formation, trips to the field, one receiver here to the boundary, back to that side as well. Watching the linebackers here pre-snap, they're shifted towards the strength, towards this trip side, and so you're assuming kind of backside, you got the corner on the receiver, the safety responsible for the running back potentially, and with this safety off and sort of out leveraged a bit more inside, just kind of free access here to the running back, and so quick initial read, nothing may be immediately available downfield, and just working easy yardage here. I think he kind of checked backside of the trip side, I really should say front side of the trip side, at first Wilson did, and then when it wasn't immediately there, let's go hit the running back. It's open, linebacker shifted away, probably not covering the running back, or you're getting some sort of zone coverage here with a cornerback playing off, and carrying the receiver opens up the running back in the flat for easy chunk of yardage. So simple stuff overall, but just foundational, fundamental quarterback play. Wilson can do it. And so take a look at it from the end zone view. Again, linebacker shifted away from the running back, safety. He's away. He's got to work through the trash here. And this one becomes a good gain and a first down for Denver. While Wilson still likes to run and can still do so a little bit, he does a good job, his veteran experience and background, keeping his eyes downfield and still looking to throw instead of just taking off at the first sign of trouble. So, back to this Chiefs game where Denver pulled off the upset, although they ran the ball 40 times in this game and passed about 20. But putting that aside, Wilson climbing, keeping his eyes downfield, could have taken off here. Instead, finds Sutton, left corner of the end zone for the touchdown. And, an area where, just as a sidebar, I thought Kenny Pickett improved and got better in last year, keeping his eyes downfield from year one to year two. But Wilson doing the same. And a nice job here to keep scanning, not just get tunnel vision and take off, despite having still some functional mobility, and finding Sutton here for the score. Same thing here against Chicago in week number 4. Could have taken off. Play starts to break down. Keep your eyes downfield. Find the outlet. Turns into a big chunk play as the Bears defense starts to really kind of creep up underneath. And a good yak opportunity here for Wilson's target. So pretty self-explanatory. Won't spend too much more time on each play of this subcategory. But Wilson, eyes downfield, scanning, buying some time with his legs, but instead of taking off and getting 5, 7 yards, 10 yards, whatever it is, let's go make that big 20-plus yard play down the field. One last look of this trait here, red zone. Again, you ask, why was Wilson so successful in the red zone? A lot of it was some of that out of structure stuff when plays break down and things are kind of tight and condensed to begin with, extend the play. Sutton gets open. You saw him at Judy in the last clip here. He hit Sutton for the touchdown, one of his favorite targets to attack. Nice job here by Sutton to work the route, get in the quarterback's vision, get open. It's not a difficult throw from Wilson necessarily. It's NFL wide open, but keeping your eyes downfield. You're seeing Wilson direct traffic as well, which I think is probably what Sutton is leaning on to find out where I have leverage, where I have space. Some of the veteran stuff there from Wilson, making him successful to finish drives off. Certainly something Pittsburgh needs in 2024. One area where Wilson did well that might seem small, but I think is really important, is knowing where his check down was at, finding his hot read against the blitz. And not to make this too much about Pickett or the Steelers offense last year, but I just thought especially the first 8 weeks or so, the Matt Canada era before his firing, Pittsburgh really had poor answers against the blitz and where the ball was going to go hot. Kenny Pickett was not finding his check down consistently enough. I think those things improved a bit throughout the season, but Wilson, he's a veteran. You would expect that to certainly some degree, but does a nice job. So a couple of clips of that here against New England in week number 16. They're going to bring this blitz off the edge. Nobody there to pick it up. Finds your hot, not the intent of the play. Yeah, the play doesn't really go for much. I understand that, but you never know what could happen if a running back gets something out in space. Maybe he's one-on-one in the next scenario, not, two guys, two linebackers on him, but just knowing where your hot is at, knowing where your check down's at, finding your safety valve when you're under pressure, despite this mess of a potential fumble. Don't care about that. Not Wilson's fault here, but this DB is going to come off the edge. He's hot. This downfield concept we're working is out the window. We're going to take a sack if we don't get the ball out right now. He does. Get linebacker peeled off. Nice job by him. If he wasn't there, it's 1v1. Maybe your running back makes a play, and who knows what happens from there. So, yeah, the fumble, putting all that aside, we'll kind of see some more examples of that. But just the running theme that I took notice of was knowing where your check down, your hot reads at, getting the ball out against pressure. Sticking with that Patriots game, a more successful outcome for the Broncos offense. We'll see it here. And Wilson, again, some pressure, find your check down, dump it off to the back, let him make a play. He does, nearly picks up the first down. And just routine things routinely. There's pressure. There was a lot of it in Denver last year. Some of it created because of Wilson. We'll talk about that. Some of that here, a stunt that's not picked up. Find your running back, hit your outlet, let him make a play. Don't take the sack, because at this point, you're working this concept downfield. Not enough time to really get the ball out. Get the ball to your running back. Let him do some damage, and he did. So one last look, again, this left side here, this game, the Patriots are running as the tackle comes through. The left tackle is unable to really, identify it and pick it up. Wilson under pressure, knows exactly how to align his feet, set his hips, find the running back, get the ball out right before getting crunched, and the running back makes a play. One last example of Wilson knowing where to go to the ball against pressure, against free rushers, is against the Raiders in week number one. Going to watch the left defensive end, 51, come free. Maybe some miscommunication in terms of who was going to pick up the blitzing linebacker, who was going to pick up the defensive end. The tackle is blocking down to take the most inside threat. Not the point here. Finding your check down, hitting the back, hitting Williams here on this play against that free rusher. Now, again, is it a great outcome overall? No, it's back to the line, essentially, but would you rather have the sack that loses you 7 yards, or do you want to give your back a chance to make a play and at least get back to the line of scrimmage and save a bit of face? And obviously, you would take the latter. So things that I just didn't see in Pittsburgh enough last year. Again, understanding we're comparing, a second-year guy in Kenny Pickett to a Super Bowl winning veteran in Russell Wilson. I understand that, but point is, things you have to have and things that a guy like Wilson can provide, finding your hot, hitting your check down, and avoiding a more negative play. All right, now looking at the negative with Russell Wilson, I think overall last year he did a pretty good job of, taking care and being smart with the football. 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, but there was still a little bit of that YOLO ball, trust your arm a bit too much, and some plays he would like to have back. So against Houston, tight game, 22-17 Texans. Later in this one, tries to throw this one down the seam, off his back foot essentially. He could have stepped into this one. The play's being rushed. It's just kind of a mess from the outset. All arm, it hangs a bit. The DB makes a great play to undercut this one and pick it off. But this one, just even from a, just technique standpoint, not really transferring his weight, stepping into the throw. It's really all arm, causes that ball to hang a bit, defender to make a play, and it's a costly interception. Certainly, there's a good pocket here. This front leg kind of locks up here, and that causes the football to sail and hang. DB does a nice job here to undercut this one. High pointed, great play by him, but Wilson, this one, an interception he would like to have back. Sticking with the Texans game, now this is very late in the game, about 15 seconds left, still 22-17. It's third down, so Denver has a down to work with, but Wilson gets a little too erratic, just trying to really go to, backyard Russell Wilson, and doesn't really have the physical traits to probably get away with that anymore. And here, yes, he's pressured, escapes the sack, but then throws this just, lollipop into the end zone that's intercepted, and the game ends there. Could you have made a play and thrown the ball away or done something else and just kind of this quick heave into a bunch of traffic? Yeah, I think so. And, even understanding the pressure, he gets away, could have reset, done something else. Tough situation to be in, but these are weighty moments for sure. Quarterback late in the game, are you going to win it? Are you going to lose it? It's going to be determined in the next play or two. And Wilson, some panic, I think, of making a poor decision, facing some pressure, and then just throwing this one. I mean, this is, you just can't make that throw. Again, I know it's a tough situation to be in, and it's easier said than done from the comfort of my laptop evaluating the all-22, but you will see Wilson try to do too much, and that was a bit of a recurring theme in the tape that I watched. New topic, and Mike Tomlin discusses doing routine things routinely, and I think Wilson generally does a nice job of that, but there were some blips, some of the accuracy underneath, and some misses that you just can't miss. And I know quarterbacks, you throw enough times in a season, you're going to miss a couple, but you see this one rolling to his left, losing that accuracy, not as comfortable, whereas, say, Kenny Pickett, I think is very comfortable. Moving to his left, this one sails on him, and what should have been certainly at least giving your receiver an opportunity and a chance. We'll take a look at it from the aerial view on this extended play. 82's been open for a little while here, but once Wilson sees him, gets the ball out, this one unfortunately sails high. Could have been a conversion. Instead, it's an incompletion for Denver. So we'll take a look from this other end zone view. Not a major concern, but there were some blips with the accuracy in some of these more extended situations where it's, give your guy a chance, just did not happen. Same idea in week one against the Raiders, and it seems to really be going to his left on the move. You're going to see that accuracy start to drop, and that's probably true for some quarterbacks, but this one is catchable. It hits off Williams' hands, but to me it's high. It's, a 5-yard throw. Got to put this one to make it a bit easier for your running back. Even if he catches this one, you're limiting gap because he's adjusting and leaving his feet. Didn't have to do that here in this scenario. I don't think his arm got hit either. That defensive Tackle does get on him here at the very end. I don't see really any contact there that's going to impact the throw. Just to me, a bit of a miss this one. Catchable, sure, but high as well. And Wilson missing that as he starts rolling and extending to his left. I have saved the best for last, or really the worst for last, because if there was a really problematic recurring issue in all the tape that I watched, more so than the other two elements we looked at in terms of the accuracy and the occasional YOLO ball, this one was much more repeated and to me going to be a much bigger source of frustration, assuming you'll see Wilson play to some degree this season. And that is him bailing on clean pockets and thinking he's still the athlete that he was 5, 10 years ago in his 20s. And he's not that kind of guy anymore. Can he still run? Yes, he ran for over 300 yards last year, 3 touchdowns, but he will try to do too much. And that kind of goes back to the YOLO aspect, but just as a pocket presence, moving within the pocket. But let's get to the tape here finally and show you what I mean here against New England. In this one, clean pocket, he can climb, he can hang in there. Instead, he's going to start bailing, spinning, turning his back on the offense, getting a ton of depth here, making it very tough for his tackles to be able to block. That junction point changes. The rushers can now go upfield. Again, clean pocket here, really clean. This is, Bentley's looking at him, number 8, but there's no immediate pressure, not going through his reads. Instead, we're rolling, we're bailing out here, and then we're taking a sack because that tackle, he just can't block it. Infinite levels of depth. He has whenever he sets, he has understanding of where this ball's going to be, where that drop is, a 3-step drop. Once Wilson backs up to where a 5 or 7-step drop would be or further, then your tackle really has no chance. So obviously, you can probably tell this one is very much a sack on Russell Wilson. Similar issue here against the Raiders. You're going to get a really good view of my critique from the end zone view, but we'll start from the aerial view to kind of see the entire route tree. Understanding things are covered, nothing really available for Wilson, not blaming him for that, obviously. But a chance where he could have stepped up and taken off and just made a play with his legs and got what was there. Instead, he's trying to get, wide and not really sure the thought process. 4-man rush here, 2 to this side, and you have just a great lane between your left tackle, your left guard. Step up, climb, take off. You got green grass there. You're going to get 5, 10 plus yards. Instead, he changes directions, tries to bounce it outside laterally, runs into his left tackle, Garrett Bowles, and then slows down, gets sacked. Don't know what the thought process was there. Trying to do too much, not taking what's there, and gets chased down from behind for a sack. Wilson has been sacked 100 times the last 2 years combined, 55 in 2022, 45 in 2023. Not all of those are on him. The line was certainly rough at times, but in this situation, clearly a sack on him. Step up, climb, take off. You got the legs. Instead, trying to do too much and turns what should have been a positive play into a negative one. Another clip against the Raiders. Big situation here. 13-10, Denver leads. 9 minutes left in the game. Touchdown here would be massive. 3rd and 6, 3rd and goal on the 6-yard line. And again, seeing Wilson bailing on that clean pocket, running himself into trouble, and has to throw this one away, giving yourself no chance to put the ball in the end zone on a crucial 3rd down. And looking at it from a better perspective, from the aerial view, it's 3-man rush. The D tackle's dropping out here. It's the old Peyton Manning P dropper, 8 in the coverage. Some zone eyes to see if he does scramble. There's no threat at all, and you're bailing to the right here into Max Crosby, which don't care who the DN is, you're going to bail into him. Going to have a bad time in the NFL. Certainly, though, if you do it towards Max Crosby, again, making your right tackle's job impossible. You should have just stayed in the pocket, hitch and climb, hang in there, go through your reads. Instead, it's a throwaway, a give-up play on 3rd down. And I think even the coaching staff, not entirely sure who this is. To the bottom, I'm sure somebody will let me know in the comments. Seems to be unhappy about the decision. You see the arms going up here, and I don't know. I think that's Sean Payton. Doesn't really matter. Maybe that's Sean Payton. Somebody, again, will correct me, but somebody talking to Russell saying, hey, why are we bailing on a 3-man rush here on 3rd down with a big spot here to really get a 2-possession lead on a divisional opponent here to start the season, and putting ourselves into a bad spot, a self-enforced error type of situation. So, final thoughts on Russell Wilson in terms of the player, in terms of the tape that I watched, in terms of the good that I saw on tape for him. I'll go through a list you guys will see on screen here. Again, the arm strength, it's live, it's strong, not a concern there. Knowing where your hot read is at, hitting your check down, beating the blitz, hopefully will be an improvement over what we saw throughout most of 2023. I didn't mention this too much, but situational ball, you kind of saw it in some of the red zone and goal to go type situations. I thought overall he was strong. His quarterback rating, one of the best in football in the red zone last year, end to half. That one touchdown to Sutton against the Raiders was end to half situation. I think he manages those moments well. Again, in part due to experience. You would hope a quarterback can do that, but he still does it, I think, at a pretty high level. And I would just say it's a similar offense overall in a lot of ways, what Sean Payton ran last year to what Arthur Smith will run in Pittsburgh. There are some layers to this, and I'm making this video probably longer than it needs to be. But in terms of the play action, working under center, Smith's offenses are flexible, and they were in shotgun a ton last year with Desmond Ridder. But point is, I think there's going to be a familiar feel to it in terms of reduced splits and some of the concepts, the glance routes and things like that are, I think, in Wilson's wheelhouse. Now, some of the concern has been he doesn't throw over the middle of the field enough, and Smith's offense requires some of that. I would have to do probably a deeper dive in terms of, is Wilson either not able to do it or not wanting to do it, or was there enough talent in the right pieces in terms of tight end and slot receivers? They were an outside receiver team last year with Sutton and Judy. Again, a lot of layers to that conversation, I think, overall. But I would just say, on some baseline level, the offense that Wilson, was asked to run and has kind of run throughout his career is not too dissimilar from what Arthur Smith will implement in Pittsburgh. In terms of the negative, the biggest one to me is bailing on clean pockets. If you were frustrated from Kenny Pickett, who would bail to his left and spin out a lot last year, you're going to get some of the same frustrations from Wilson. And I think you're going to get more sacks overall. He's routinely been among the most sacked quarterbacks in football. Again, some nuance to that. He's been one of the most durable and available quarterbacks in football, so he gets sacked because he's playing a lot. But 100 sacks the last 2 years, most in football, that might not change dramatically. And Pittsburgh will have to really, I think, focus on improving their offensive line to protect Wilson as much as possible. But Wilson does not always protect himself from himself and still thinks he's 25 years old and can run around like he used to. And it's not, the juice in his legs just aren't quite there anymore. Some short accuracy concerns, rolling to his left. I think, the accuracy will start to wane. Not as comfortable there. And then this one is harder to tell. I didn't show any clips of it, but there were issues in terms of getting aligned properly and getting the ball off on time and some false starts. I think it was maybe this Bears game where it was like 4 false starts in this game, and how much of that is on him, I'm not quite sure. But there were some road elements where the offense just kind of really felt a bit clunky and chaotic and didn't feel like they were breaking the huddle well, and just issues with cadence and some things that are tough to tell. And I wonder, from an intangible standpoint, will there be some frustration of Wilson just trying to run your offense the way that it has to be run in terms of just kind of doing some of those basic things? There's a line to it. He's a veteran. He can certainly do some of those things, but I just saw a little bit of messiness, and I think it was pretty well documented that Sean Payton was frustrated with Wilson not playing within the structure of his offense and not really playing as in rhythm and timing as Payton would like to. And that's one reason why there were some frustrations and shouting matches on the sideline from Payton. And ultimately, I think why Wilson is no longer a Denver Bronco, because the Broncos took a pretty heavy cap charge, dead money hit of $85 million, which was spreading over 2 years, to not have Wilson play for him. They're paying him $40 million to not play for him, which says something about probably how done that regime was. Again, new regime, new ownership. They didn't trade for Wilson, but still a pretty big, I think, decision to dump him and absorb all that negativity. For my final thoughts on how this thing will go, again, Pittsburgh will frame this as competition. There's no question in my mind about how they'll publicly approach it. And maybe they're sincere, maybe they're not. I believe the reporting that Wilson has not been promised a job and has not been given a guarantee about the job. I 100% sincerely believe that. But I think it's hard to believe that Wilson signed this quickly without the confidence and thought that he will be starting week 1 over Kenny Pickett. And just frankly, is he better than Kenny Pickett right now? Yes, he is. Now, again, we're talking longtime veteran versus quarterback going into his 3rd year with some bumpy circumstances. Get all that, but all that matters is who's your better guy right now, regardless of reasons and circumstances. and Wilson is that guy. I think Wilson has the talent still to lead Pittsburgh to the playoffs and win a playoff game, and that's been their obstacle is they can get to the playoffs, they can get and be competitive and be the 7th seed and go to the wild card game, but they have lost their last 5 postseason games, and they have not won a playoff game in 7 years since 2016, and you can feel that frustration in Pittsburgh from ownership, from the players. There's not that culture, and their standard has become just, not have a losing record and make the playoffs and be done with it. And that is not the standard in Pittsburgh, and that's not the standard I don't think that Mike Tomlin wants or Rooney wants, or certainly what you and I and the fan base want. So I think Wilson is good enough to win a playoff game. But does this make Pittsburgh Super Bowl contenders? Unlikely. We'll see how the rest of the offseason plays out and how they address replacing Deontay Johnson and all those kinds of things. But point being, I think Pittsburgh can get over their immediate hurdle of winning a playoff game, but can they go further than that? I don't think they're really in that position to do so. With Wilson, who's probably will continue to decline, and his best days are obviously, you would think, behind him. So that's the concern there. My overall takeaway is that the thought process will be after this season, okay, Wilson was better. Maybe you won a playoff game. That's good. Now, where do we go from here? Wilson will be a free agent. There'll be a decision on him when he's about to be 36. If he plays the year out and Pickett is not either given an opportunity or has very limited playing time, then you're not going to go back to Pickett in 2025 as your starter. And so you don't have any idea who your starting quarterback in 2025 will be. And you're probably picking 20th or 18th or 23rd and wondering how you're going to get that quarterback, and are probably doing this whole dance about what veteran will they go target a year from now. So that's my concern about the lack of a long-term vision for who your quarterback is. That's one position where, yeah, you want to win now and focus on the here and now, but you're always uncomfortable, at least I am, when you're not really don't have an earthly idea what your quarterback situation looks like a year from now, a year out, especially for Pittsburgh that is unlikely to be a 3-win team picking in the top 3 and getting a blue-chip quarterback. And the word is the quarterback class in 2025 is not particularly strong. Not as good as 2024, although I say who the heck knows what it'll look like. I mean, it's a year away. Guys emerge, guys disappoint. It's Joe Burrow was an unknown until his final year at LSU. So putting all that aside, it's an upgrade to get Wilson. I thought his tape was better than what I thought it would be when I just kind of heard some of the things about Denver. I'm sure if I watched the Nathaniel Hackett days, it'd be a more negative impression, but that is my evaluation on Russell Wilson. The good, the bad, we'll see what things look like in camp. I expect Wilson to start week 1, but Pittsburgh will frame things as a competition. We'll go into Latrobe and take it from there. So let me know your thoughts and comments below. No super long video. Again, I always say they're going to be shorter, and they're not, but dedicating the time to Wilson, I think is worth it overall. I may do some more continued deep dives on either play action or all the sacks he took or some other element of things later in the offseason, but that is my initial thoughts on Russell Wilson. Hopefully that helped inform you guys about the quarterback Pittsburgh is getting. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Appreciate you guys watching. Please like this video. Please subscribe to the channel, and be sure to check out the site SteelersDepot.com. Again, thank you so much, and we'll talk to you soon.